Good morning, everyone. My name is John Rickzel Macalos from BSHM 3A, and I am here to report about the Philippine Tourism Law, Chapter 14, the Insurance Law. Our learning objectives is as follows: enumerate items that can be insured by a tourism establishment, identify the rationale behind the concept of insurance, explain the different kinds of insurance, identify the advantages and disadvantages of having an insurance. Our topic outline are as follows: definition and concept, insurable interest, beneficiaries, fire, marine, and third party liability insurance, fire insurance, compulsory motor vehicle liability insurance, and last but not least, the war risk insurance. Now let us talk about our first topic for this reporting. It is the definition of concept. A contract of insurance is a legally binding agreement between two parties, typically the insurer, such as an insurance company, and the insured, the individual or businesses purchasing the insurance, in which the insurer promises to provide financial protection or compensation to the insured in the event of a special loss or specified loss, damage, or liability. This protection is provided in exchange for a payment, known as a premium, which the insured agrees to pay either once or on recurring basis. The contract is based on occurrence of uncertain or future events such as accidents, natural disasters, illness, or other risks, and aims to reduce the financial burden such as good costs. Essentially, in a way for individuals or organizations to manage risk and gain peaceful of mind knowing they are covered if the unexpected happens. And now for the insurable interest. In Section 10, it explains that insurable interest exists when a person depends on someone else for support, money, or services. In other words, if you rely on someone for your well being or livelihood, you have a valid reason to insure them because their loss would financially or personally affect you. In Section 13, it states that a person has an insurable interest in property if losing or damaging the property would directly affect them. For example, you can insure your home or your business equipment because any damage to them would personally cause you a loss. In Section 14, it expands the idea of insurable interest to conclude not what you currently own or benefit, but from also interests that are developing or expected based on your present legal rights. So, if you are about to take ownership of something or have a right that will eventually lead to possession or benefit, you can still insure it now. Now, in Section 15, it says that people or organizations who are temporarily holding or transporting someone else's property, like carriers or depositories, can insure those items. They can insure them either for the full value of the item or up to the amount they are legally responsible for if something goes wrong. Now, for the beneficiary, in Section 18, it states that for any insurance or property to be legally valid, the person buying the insurance must have an insurable interest in that property. This means that they must stand to suffer a financial loss or other direct impact if the property is damaged or lost. Without this interest, the insurance contract would be considered void or unenforceable. In Section 19, further clarifies when the insurable interest must exist. For property insurance, the insurable interest must be presented both at the time the insurance policy is taken and at the time the loss happens. For example, you can't insure a house you no longer own and then claim damages if something happens to it. However, in life or health insurance, the insurable interest is only required at the beginning of the policy when the contract is made. This means that even if your relationship with the person changes or ends later on, the policy remains valid as long as you had a valid insurable interest when it was first issued. Our next slide is about the fire, marine, and third party liability insurance. In Section 19, it explains that marine insurance is a specialized form of insurance designed to cover various risks associated with maritime activities and the transportation of goods over water and other connected routes. First, it provides coverage of loss or damage to several categories of property. This includes vessels or ships, which are essentially for marine transport, as well as the cargo, goods, and money being moved or stored in connection with shipping operations. It also extends protection to property and persons related to maritime trade, although it specifically excludes coverage for life insurance, surely bonds, and injuries related to automobile use. Marine insurance also includes coverage for valuable items such as jewelry, precious stones, and metals, whether they are being transported or simply stored. Moreover, it covers transportation and communication infrastructure that supports marine activities, such as docks, wharves, piers, warehouses, and bridges, recognizing their importance in the smooth operation of maritime logistics. In addition to property protection, marine insurance includes marine protection and indemnity, which provides coverage for the legal liabilities of ship owners or operators. This includes liability for injuries or deaths of passengers, crew members, and other individuals, as well as damage to other people's property that may occur during the operational of a vessel. In short, it helps cover the legal and financial consequences of accidents or incidents related to the use of ships. Overall, maritime insurance is a comprehensive safety net that protects both physical assets and legal responsibilities in the world of maritime transport and trade. Now let us talk about the fire insurance. In section 167 defines that fire insurance is a type of insurance that provides coverage not only for damage caused by fire but also for other related risks. These risks include lightning, windstorms, tornadoes, earthquakes, and other similar natural events. The coverage can be provided either under the unextended fire insurance policy, which bundles multiple risks together, or through separate specific policies for each type of risk. Essentially, it ensures protection against a broad range of destructive events that are commonly associated with or can occur alongside fires. Now, let us move on to the compulsory motor vehicle liability insurance. In Section 373, it provides definitions for key terms related to motor vehicle insurance. It defines what constitutes a motor vehicle, who is considered a passenger, what is meant by a third party, typically someone who is not the driver or passenger but could be affected by a vehicle related incident. It also defines an operator as the person who drives or is in control of the vehicle. And it explains in liability insurance, which is the type of insurance that covers the driver's legal responsibility for injury or damage caused by the other. Section 374 states that any person operating a motor vehicle on public roads is required to have either liability insurance or surety bond. It is a legal requirement to ensure that drivers can cover costs in case they cause injury, death, or property damage while using their vehicle. Section 377 reinforces this by making it mandatory to show proof of such insurance or bond before motor vehicle can be registered or have its registration renewed. This ensures that all vehicles operating on public roads are properly insured, protecting both drivers and the public in case of accidents. Now, let us move on to this rather unique and interesting topic: war risk insurance. It is a type of coverage designed to protect against damages caused by war related events. It includes incidents like hijacking or other violent acts associated with conflict. This type of insurance is essentially for entities exposed to high risk environments where war or military activities could cause significant damage. However, it excludes coverage for weapons of mass destructions, which includes radioactive contamination resulting from nuclear events or accidents, electromagnetic pulse devices which can disrupt electronic equipment and systems, chemical and biological weapons which are designed to cause harm through toxic agents. The insurance typically covers full passenger liability, meaning it would cover the full cost related to injuries, deaths, or damages sustained by passengers involved in a war related incident. For third party damage or liability, the coverage is generally capped at around 50 million US dollars, meaning that damages exceeding this amount would not be covered under the standard policy. In essence, war risk insurance provides comprehensive coverage for people directly affected by war related incidents, while also imposing certain limits and exclusions related to catastrophic events like WMDs. Now let us talk about our last topic, the International Air Transport Association. In most jurisdictions, including the European Union, airlines are legally required to have liability insurance that includes coverage for war risk insurance, which encompasses potential damages related to war, terrorism, and other conflict related events. This is a part of an effort to ensure that airlines are financially prepared to handle these significant risks associated with operating in volatile or high risk environments. Additionally, aircraft lease agreements often stipulate the war risk insurance must be in place to protect the interests of both the lessor and the lessee. This ensures that the parties involved are covered in case of damage or loss caused by war-related events such as hijacking or terrorist attacks. For information, when I talk about the lessor, this identifies the entity leasing the craft, and for the lessee, it is the airline or operator using the aircraft. Anyways, moving on. Despite these measures, weapons of mass destructions, also known as the WMDs, such as nuclear, chemical, and biological weapons, are generally excluded from difficult insurance coverage, as these weapons are primarily designed to target states rather than individual or companies. As such, the ultimate responsibility for the security of citizens rests with states. Governments are expected to provide the necessary defense and security infrastructure to protect their citizens from such threats, rather than relying on private insurance to cover such catastrophic events. To put it all in summary, while airlines are required by law to have liability insurance, including coverage for war risk and the coverage for weapons of mass destructions is generally excluded from insurance policies due to the nature of such weapons and the responsibility of public security of the given states. And that would conclude my report. I hope it gave you some insights about this particular topic. And thank you all so much for listening. I hope it helps.